Are you a first-time homebuyer or maybe thinking about becoming a first-time homebuyer here in BC? Well, this might be the video for you. I'm going to be going over plans, programs, and incentives that could help you save money or maybe even help you get into the market. So let's get into it. Hi, my name's Tyler Burrows, and we're having glare issues right off the bat, so we are going to lose the glasses and start again. Hi, my name's Tyler Burrows. I'm a realtor and real estate advisor here in Vancouver, and my goal with this channel is to introduce, inform, update, and educate everything real estate. Today in this video, we're going to be going over incentives, plans, and programs that can help you, the first-time home buyer, save money or maybe even just get into the market. Some of these will be Canada-wide, BC specific, or even more specific to Vancouver and Victoria. I will have links below, so make sure you take a look at those before you commit to anything. Don't just trust some guy on the internet. Always do your homework and talk to a financial specialist. As per usual, I have broken this down into chapters so you can skip to the chapter that works best for you. And I have also broken this down into 3 separate videos so you can take a look at those individually or share those with people you think might benefit from them. All right, that's it for the housekeeping. Let's get into it. The first thing on the menu is going to be the first-time home buyers program, which can help either reduce or even eliminate property transfer tax on your first property purchase. So what is property transfer tax? Well, property transfer tax is literally tax put on the transfer of property from one owner to another. We'll start with the maximum that you could save. We're going to use an example of a $500,000 property. So if you are purchasing a $500,000 property, the property transfer tax on that here in Vancouver would be 1% on the first $200,000 and 2% on the remaining $300,000 for a grand total of $8,000. Which means if you use this program, you could save roughly $8,000 with the first-time homebuyers program. Now you're saying, well, that sounds like a pretty good deal, Tyler. How do I qualify? Let me tell you. All right, so first of all, you must be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident. You must have lived in British Columbia for at least a year before you register that property. Or you must have filed at least 2 income tax returns in the last 6 taxation years, again, before you register that property. Now, this is the first-time homebuyers program, so that means you must be a first-time homebuyer, which means you have never owned a registered interest in a property that was your principal residence anywhere in the world at any time. Oh, and the reason I used a $500,000 example is because, and this is going to be tough for those of us living in Vancouver, the maximum price of the property that you're purchasing when you can still qualify for the first-time homebuyers program is $500,000. And this one will be a little bit easier for those of us living in Vancouver. That property cannot be bigger than 0.5 hectares or 1.24 acres. I think you can make that work here in Vancouver. Again, less than 500,000 and smaller than 0.5 hectares. And if you've heard all of these qualifications, you already purchased a house and you would have qualified for this but never applied for the program, you can actually apply for a retroactive refund as long as it's within 1 year to 18 months of when you registered that property. All right, so I have put the link below. Make sure you take a look at that and make sure you qualify. I have listed some of the qualifications, but there's a lot of details to all of these programs. That is the Home Buyers program. Let's move on. Now, this one has a lot of details, so make sure you follow the link below and check out all of those. I'm just going to briefly touch on some of the important stuff, and always check with your financial specialist. The first-time homebuyer incentive is a chunk of money that the CMHC is willing to lend you towards your first property. And that can be 5 or 10% depending on the property. So let's take a look at what properties that depends on. So you can get 5 or 10% on the first-time homebuyer's purchase of a newly constructed home, 5% of the first-time homebuyer's purchase of a resale or a used home, and 5% of the first-time homebuyer's purchase of a mobile or manufactured home. Well, that sounds pretty good. There's got to be a catch, right? There is. So I think the first thing you should note is that this loan from the CMHC is part of a shared equity program, which basically means they're buying stocks in your home. So when you buy stocks in a business, you buy a little bit of ownership. Now, I'm not saying that they're buying ownership, but what they're doing is buying 5% of the fair market value of that property. So as your property value grows and shrinks, so does that 5%. So when you go to pay it back, whenever that happens to be, you have to pay them back, if you borrowed 5% of the fair market value of your property. So if that property value went up, it won't be the same amount of money that you borrowed from the CMHC, it will be 5% of the fair market value of your property. So that could have grown. Or if your property value goes down, technically you could also be on the hook for less. And they have put maximums on the amount that they will charge you in growth. They only charge 8% gain per year, or 8% loss per year. Whichever direction that property goes in, they will not charge you more than 8%, and that is not compounded. You are also on the hook to pay them back within 25 years, but you can pay them back shorter than that. So a program like this is great if you have a chunk of money coming in, but it won't make it in time for you to put a down payment on a property. So perhaps you need an extra 5% and you know it's coming in the future. You can borrow that from the CMHC, and when that chunk of change shows up, you can repay that loan. So this can be a great way to get yourself into the real estate market a little faster if that is your goal. Now, of course, there are qualifiers that come along with this program. So if you're applying for this program here in Vancouver, you cannot make more than $150,000 a year. Now, if you live in any other cities here in Canada, make sure you follow the link below and check what your cap is, but it's usually $120,000 to qualify. The other thing that you need to qualify is the property that you are purchasing cannot exceed the amount of $722,000. You also have to be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident, and again, this has to be your first home or your first property. Now, before you get too excited, make sure you take a look at the link below and make sure that you qualify. These are just some of the qualifiers and just some of the factors, so make sure you do your own homework. All right, so we have done the first-time homebuyers program. We have done the first-time homebuyers incentive, and we are moving on to the last topic of the day, the first-time homebuyers plan. All right, with the first-time homebuyers plan, this is the plan where you are eligible to take money out of your RRSPs, your registered retirement savings plan, to put towards your home. Now, this is another one with a lot of qualifiers, so make sure you check out that link below. But if you do qualify, it's possible that you can take up to $35,000 out of your RRSPs without being taxed, and you can combine that $35,000 with $35,000 from your partner, as long as you both qualify, for a grand total of $70,000. Now, it is important to note that this is only non-taxable as long as you pay it back within a 15-year period. Now, an amazing thing about this is you can use this towards a qualifying home for someone related to you with a disability. This can also be used in the case of separation or divorce from either common law or married couples. Now, you do need to look into a lot of these details, but this could be a good way to either buy out your ex-partner's interest in a property or find yourself a new property. So when it comes to other qualifications, this one is a little bit more flexible when it comes to the first-time home buyer. So make sure you take a look at all the details in the link below. You also have to be a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident. All right, so there is a little bit of light on the first-time home buyers program, the first-time home buyers incentive, and the first-time home buyers plan. I hope you got some value from this video and you learned a little bit, but make sure you follow those links and you talk to the professionals involved, financial specialists, and in some case, lawyers. Make sure you do all of those things before you commit to a plan or think that a plan is right for you. You do have to do your homework. And on that note, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok because I do a ton of home tours. You can see what's out there. I also do lots of tips and tricks along the way, so you can add some of that to your resources, just get inspired, or just daydream, whatever works for you. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next one.